heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
Ben, I'm getting angry. My rage is boiling. You've opened Pandora's box. You made me watch this shitty movie. I'm getting angrier and angrier. Every second that goes by, I'm about to explode. You made me watch this shitty fucking movie, Ben.
Are you gonna shake?
I'm gonna shake. I'm so angry.
Man. Your eyes are bulging.
Those aren't my eyes.
Whoa. What's bulging then?
My nips.
Whoa. His name is Eric the Stain. He's going to leave his mark on crime. We're talking Mystery Men on the Pod of Dreams.
In a place called Champion City, the forces of good and evil
Captain Amazing, what a surprise.
are about to collide.
Well, we've always been each other's greatest nemesises. Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Now, with the city's one true hero missing,
Captain Amazing is in danger.
Kaboom.
who will step forward
You again. Wannabes.
to answer the call of justice?
Don't mess with the volcano, my man. Because I will go Pompeii on your butt.
Oh, golly.
They've been waiting for this moment
The city's in peril, Lucille.
all of their lives.
Butch needs his vest back.
Well, it's my vest, too. I bought it for him.
But now that their time has come,
I'm a superhero, too.
What's his power?
Excuse me.
they're going to need all the help they can get.
We gotta find a lot of superheroes really quickly. State your name and power.
PMS Avenger. I only work 4 days a month. Is there a problem with that?
No. I am the Waffler.
Am I too late to try out?
Sorry.
You're in.
Wow, my first mission and we're gonna rescue Captain Amazing. Here we go.
Universal Pictures presents
We need to talk about your plans.
I'm going to kill you.
Right, that's the part that really doesn't work for me.
a new league of heroes that step to a different beat.
Well, I am a ticking time bomb of fury.
I don't find you threatening at all.
Let's do some carnage.
We're not your classic heroes. We're the other guys.
Mystery Men.
I'm invisible. Can you see me?
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe you should put some shorts on or something if you want to keep fighting evil today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod of Dreams. I am Benny Boohoo, a superhero whose power is to make people cry by reminding them they're going to die someday. I'm here along with Kevin Bang Bang Chang and Eric the Stain Lane, forming our super team. Today we're talking Mystery Men, but before we get any further, Eric, how boring, stupid, unfunny, dorky, lame was this movie?
I hated every second of it. I really, honestly, this is one of my least favorite movie watching experiences of my entire life.
Yeah, you could take the floor. I was ready for this. Every second that went by is like, Eric's going to hate this, Eric's going to hate this.
There wasn't a single thing that was funny. Every character was annoying. It was the filmed, the visuals, the way they zoomed in on people's faces. It looked dumb. It was some fake knockoff Tim Burton Batman bullshit with weird, stupid superheroes like the bowler and the shoveler and the fucking Pee Wee Herman farting on people. Do
you think they thought those were really cool, awesome superheroes?
I don't know what they thought. It wasn't a parody. If you think this was some sort of parody of superhero movies, I disagree.
You think they were trying to make Tim Burton look cool? They weren't trying to make fun of and copy Tim Burton style from the Batman movies that had just come out. They were just like, we're going to do it.
They were definitely trying to copy it for sure.
They
were trying to make it a
it.
funny version of it. This was not a satire. I disagree. It was a superhero comedy that they thought was funny, and they thought having these stupid characters would be funny. It wasn't a satire. I disagree. Satire and comedy are two different things. And this one tried to be a comedy, and it failed miserably. Did you laugh once? Did you think this movie was funny?
You don't think satire is funny?
I do. This isn't satire, though. This is just comedy for comedy's sake. I think those are different.
I disagree that it's not satirical at all. I totally disagree. I don't think that the goal was, these are really cool superheroes that people are going to like and think are awesome. The whole point is that they're a bunch of dorks pretending to be superheroes. That's the whole shtick of the movie.
But that's not a satire. That's just a character that's
supposed to be satire on
funny.
nerd culture in general, I would say. And yes, where comic book movies are at a time. I mean, you've got riffs of the billionaire that nobody knows is secretly the superhero, a guy who takes on and off his glasses, the classic Superman. I mean, it's not an out-and-out satire because it's too broad for that, I guess, but there's a lot of satirical elements in it, I think. But yeah, I laughed. I had a good 4 or 5 laughs in this movie, like genuine, real laughs. It worked for me on that level.
What is Hank Azaria do? He's throwing spoons and forks. What is he doing in this movie?
Throwing spoons and forks.
Yeah, that's the mystery of the Mystery Man.
That's what he's doing. He's a loser who lives with his mom, who chose to create this bizarre Raja character, as he calls him, an effete British
superhero
aristocrat who throws forks and refuses to throw something that might be big. He won't do knives. That's one of the bits, is that a knife would be a lot more effective than a fork or a spoon, but he doesn't do it for his arbitrary reasons. Just like Batman doesn't kill because Batman doesn't do it. That's what he's doing. They're all losers. Every one of these characters is a schlub, lame, unspecial, and for them, this superhero fantasy helps them escape the doldrums of just how lame their life is. I mean, pretty clearly. Very few of them have anything actually going for them outside of their superhero work. And that
William H. Macy's got a wife and a family, and
then he's the most well-adjusted, and he risks losing his wife and kids to be a superhero. No, I laughed it quite a few times. I liked the line towards the end when they're getting interviewed, and somebody's like, "We are the super dudes." No, we don't have a name, but we're definitely not the super dudes. When they're all trying to insult Ben Stiller and make him angry, and they come up with a bunch of really shitty insults that aren't really all that upsetting.
Dress
like a male prostitute. Yes, you dress in the manner. The Sphinx really worked for me. I thought he was a pretty funny character. They're all gag characters, and I don't know. I think we get just the right amount of spleen. Paul Rubens, I think, works well in this movie. But enough. This doesn't just need to turn into an Eric and Ben argue. Kevin, you watch this movie regularly. It's a movie you love. I believe you used that word last week. It's something in your regular rotation. Why don't you take the floor and talk about this movie for a little bit?
Well, I love superhero movies in general, and this one is, I believe, a very humorous satire on the bit. And it does involve nerd culture quite a bit. It has all the William Shatner lines of, "Don't correct me, it sickens me," or sabotage, you say sabotage. Just little lines like that riff on nerd culture. And I can see why Eric wouldn't like it.
Sure.
It's not broad. It's either too broad or not broad.
Well, you prefer guys in a hotel room doing a bunch of drugs. That would be a lot funnier to you. I get it. That's fine. That's up your alley.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to get it. Sorry, continue, Kevin.
I didn't say anything like that. It's not your style.
It's definitely not Eric's style. But it's goofy, I guess. It's not cool. It's not edgy. It's just a funny riff. Instead of awesome villains, there's disco villains and the red eyes with Artie
Lang. This is a real wrinkle-fest. That's another one where I laugh. It's like, oh, that's Artie Lang busting in as the king of the red eyes. And he's arbitrarily doing stupid stuff that doesn't... He's busting a nursing home that's having some sort of ice cream social thing. And he just digs his hand into the cake and just smushes it around and then takes a chunk for no reason, just because he's being a cartoonish villain. It's like, it worked for me from the get-go. I mean, I was like, oh, yeah. This is some funny stuff.
Yeah, and Tom Waits is there picking up ladies.
Yeah. He doesn't live there. He's just there for the chicks. But there's all these little one-off lines that work for me. Like when they go to see Tom Waits, right, the weapons dealer, he's in an abandoned abandoned amusement park in the middle of the desert, just because that's where wacky inventors go, and they're like, let's attack in a triangle formation, and the spleen says isosceles or equilateral. Like, it's so stupid. It's just such a stupid non sequitur because they don't clarify the shape of the triangle, so he doesn't know what position in the triangle formation. It's dumb in a way that's funny, and it's nerdy. It's a nerdy kind of humor. It's just it's a joke that would have killed in the honors dorm when I was a freshman. Say that.
The honors dorm. Love that
know.
little. Oh, he slid that one in there. Look at big brain on Ben over here, Mr.
Like, let's say people who, let's put it this
Honors
way: people that really like Weird Al would probably really like this movie. I don't know what your stance is on Weird Al's music, Eric. You seem like you wouldn't be.
He's funny. I like things that are funny. I like Austin Powers. I like Tropic Thunder. Those things are actually. There's not a single thing that was funny about this movie, to me at least. I did not find it funny. I found it annoying. I think there's a way you could do it. You can do a riff on superheroes. Like The Boys is sort of doing more of a satirical version of, a traditional superhero movie. That's not a comedy. It is more of an action, but there's some funny parts to it. But I think that's a million times better than what this shit movie is.
This is a bazillion times lighter than so The Boys is just so cynical and dark and miserable. There are some moments of levity, but it's also just like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? And it takes the action so seriously. And this is like camp from beginning to end. This is just pure superhero camp.
But it's like the Schumacher Batmans. Do you like those movies?
No.
Why are those bad and this is good? Because to me, they're the same level as stupid, because I think they were trying to do the same thing. They're trying to be funny.
I don't think Joel Schumacher was trying to be funny. I guess maybe that's a difference. So like Batman and Robin.
Yeah, or Schwarzenegger's like freeze. Like that is pure comedy. That he's trying to be funny with that. Like, weather forecast says freeze. Like it's comedy.
No, I think there's drama that we're supposed to take actually seriously in that. Like, there's a rift between Batman and Robin and trust issues and all this melodrama that we're supposed to actually take seriously.
Melodrama between Ben Stiller and the waitress woman, or Ben Stiller and William H. Macy, or William H. Macy and his family.
None of the drama is taken seriously. Not a second of this is you're supposed to take seriously. It's an interpretation thing then for you, because I don't look at this and think they're taking this concept very seriously. To me, the whole concept of the movie is a joke. These characters are a joke. The plot is a joke. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense, really. And it's not supposed to. I mean, the whole thing is nonsense.
You didn't think Greg Kinnear's character was funny? The way he was so cynical about being...
Well, that's where I saw The Boys. I mean, he was essentially the same character as what's his face in The Boys.
Yeah, 25 years earlier.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, he's maybe my least favorite part of the show, I think, from The Boys. What's Mr.
He's Captain Amazing in this. Homelander and The Boys.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he's not likable. He's the hero, but he's the shittiest person. He lets the bad guy out because he needs to keep the rating so he can keep his sponsors. He's a dick to the people that are trying to help him.
If Zack Snyder made this movie, it's better.
Oh,
and I'm not a big Zack Snyder guy.
Wow.
But,
that is, I guess if the point of this podcast is scalding hot takes, that is scalding hot and like wrong. Stick that take in a volcano. That's
The Watchmen's
terrible.
not a bad movie. I actually kind of like The Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen's fine. I don't think this concept is not meant to be taken with Snyder seriousness and portentousness and just this baggy, edgy, Limp Bizkit, and God, I can't think of that shitty band that I don't like. But whoa, it's so weighty.
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park, yes, exactly. It does not need that energy. If I thought they were taking the concept seriously, I might have the same reaction to you. But to me, they're going absurd from the very beginning. There's not even a single frame where I think this is serious. The guy's name is Shoveler, and he's coming up with shovel puns. Why don't you shovel it in?
It's just stupid. It's not funny, though. It's just plain dumb. There's nothing funny about William H. Macy in this movie. The motherfucker, this is where I was just disgusted. I'm telling you, this is one of the most disgusting things I've seen in a movie in a long time. There's a scene in this movie where William H. Macy makes an egg salad sandwich from scratch with the eggs and the mayo and then just eats that fucker in front of everybody. I was so disgusted. I mean, wanted to just throw up right there.
Yeah, egg salad's gross, but he gives that's the whole point. He gives a big dramatic speech with an egg salad sandwich and shoves it into his mouth. That's not serious. Egg salad is gross. But the bit worked. I didn't laugh at that part, but I appreciate it. Like, there's so much about this stuff that I
he's got all the different condiments. He mixes it in a bowl together while he's talking and eats. And do you think
they meant that seriously? Like, this is really going to make a deep point. That makes me like the movie. Each of these individual people is one of the ingredients. They're all gross, and then they get mixed together, and they get even grosser. That's this movie. That's the mystery. That's
and you like metaphor. That
it's
sounds good.
It's funny. It's amusing. It's entertaining. Okay. There's not a movie like this that I can recall.
Yeah, thank God there aren't other movies like this. Jesus Lord.
Side note, do you see all the cameos in this movie? There's a little shitload.
I know Michael Bay was in it, right?
Yeah, he's the head of the frat boy gang.
I recognized him.
Yeah.
Oh yes, CeeLo. There was a bunch of rappers.
And then the people at the the superhero audition was just like.
Dane Cook was the waffler or something.
Yes, yep, with his waffle iron of justice. Yeah.
And the truth syrup.
I mean, it was just annoying. Dane Cook is annoying as fuck, and Paul Reubens I find him very annoying. It was just Janine Garofalo. Holy shit, she comes in with a bowling ball with her dad's head in it. My goodness, could I have passed on that? Did she not need to be in this movie? Just added nothing, not funny, just annoying.
Well, since it's already not funny, it doesn't really matter if you add another non-funny piece. Isn't it? If it's all not funny, isn't it irrelevant? In this egg salad sandwich of shit.
Do you think Janine Garofalo is a funny person?
Not in general, but I think this role works. I think for the character, for this character in this movie, yeah. I thought it was fine. She's got this weird codependency thing with her dead dad. I don't know. I mean, I liked it.
I thought her delivery was pretty good. Yeah. Like, I've often thought there was foul play involved. She's like, as did I. When her dad fell in a shaft, elevator shaft onto a bunch of bullets.
Shaft. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, Eddie Izzard, right? He's another. Has he ever been funny in anything he's ever been in? Does he ever add anything to anything he's ever been in?
I didn't realize. I wasn't expecting an anti-Eddie Izzard hot take here. I wasn't expecting that.
He's in one of the Ocean's movies, and he's just annoying in that. I don't know. He just pops up in movie in the 90s. He was in a bunch of movies and didn't add anything and didn't care for him. Don't find him funny. Were you a big Eddie Izzard guy or what?
No, I'm ambivalent about Eddie Izzard. I didn't realize you would have a
strong... Exactly. There's no opinion about him because he's not funny and he's just sort of there.
But yours is angry. See, this is where I'm confused. I'm kind of like, you could have swapped him in for somebody else and it'd have been fine. But you're mad or annoyed or irritated or agitated.
Because it's a whole cast full of those people where it's like, William H. Macy and Ben Stiller, for the most part, are the only two that have done anything else of note that is any good outside of this movie.
I so disagree about Hank Azaria in The Simpsons, but that's fine.
Oh, Hank Azaria, get out!
You don't think he's a good voice in The Simpsons?
He's a good voice actor in The Simpsons, but any movie he pops up in, it's a hard pass for me. Wasn't he in Godzilla, the original Godzilla movie? Holy shit!
The one with Matthew Broderick.
I've never seen that. Okay.
I mean, Jeffrey Rush is obviously a great actor, and I mean he's in some dog shit movies like all the Pirates movies, but I don't know. I didn't like it.
I knew you wouldn't. Every frame, I'm like, I like this, and I guess obviously Kevin likes it, but Eric's gonna hate this. It's like none of this joke is going to be Eric's style. It's not like a broad.
Well, let's go through
comedy. It's not a boner comedy.
Go through the plot
Sure.
for people who maybe haven't seen this movie, because there's only like 12 people on the planet that have ever watched this.
I was one of the people that saw it in the theater in 1999. I was one of the few people.
I saw it in a theater too.
There we
with
go.
my
We were
ex-wife.
we were 2 out of 112 or whatever.
So I have a quick question though. So this is before the first Spider-Man?
Before the first Spider-Man,
Raimi?
before the first X-Men. First X-Men came out in 2000. I think the first Spider-Man was 2002.
Obviously before Batman Begins.
Yeah, before we got the serious
Before
mature takes
Iron
on-
Man.
well before yes, all the Marvel stuff. So the super movies at this point were basically Batman and Superman. Batman to a lesser
Superman is 15 years at this point.
Well, there was some in the late 80s. There was they made 4 of them. So that
this is
a decade.
99. So
So
okay,
a
10
decade.
years.
A decade.
10 years.
Still, people know Superman. It's still relevant in the pop culture, but not as much as
So we
Batman.
have Batman movies going all through the 90s, from 94 to
Yeah,
whatever.
when did Batman and Robin come out? Do we know off the top of our head?
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. I mean,
89 is the first Batman, right?
right, and then Batman Returns is 92, I think. I want to say Val Kilmer's for Batman Forever is 95, so it's around.
95 is Forever. Batman and Robin's 97.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
and then this
Batman
is
is
2
kind
years
of
later.
played out at this
Yeah.
point when this movie comes out. It's gotten absurd. Although it got, I mean, let's not forget that at the end of Batman Returns, a bunch of penguins have rockets strapped to their back.
I know.
And they
There's a lot
waddle
of dumb shit.
through
Yeah.
the middle of the street to blow up the moon, or I don't remember what their goal was. I don't know what's going to happen. Something incredibly campy and silly.
Yeah, Tim Burton was all about some really weird, campy, stupid things, but somehow it works when he does it.
Sometimes it doesn't always. It got stale. He got some of that visual stuff got a little played out.
Sure.
By the time we're doing
Yeah.
the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remix, I'm out. I'm done. Alice in Wonderland. Okay, we're done. But separate. I mean, I'm going to talk about so the plot. Okay, we have 3 guys. Ben Stiller, who plays Roy, aka Mr. Furious, a guy who gets really angry and becomes super strong. Although, he's just a delusional guy who, doesn't have anything going for him. We have Hank Azaria. I don't know what his character's name is, but he goes by Blue Raja. He throws silverware and he speaks with this feet British accent. And then we have the shoveler played by William H. Macy.
I think his name is Jeff.
Jeff. Okay.
His mom calls him Jeff.
There you go. See, I just couldn't remember. Remember them by their superhero names. There's a robbery at the beginning. These guys raid a nursing home mixer to steal jewelry and a bunch of other random crap from a bunch of old
Teeth,
people.
for some reason.
Oh, yeah. See, that wasn't serious. That was cartoonish nonsense, taking out the guy's teeth. They weren't like, this is serious. This is a joke. What are some of the most ridiculous things they could take? Yeah, a fake prosthetic limb, I think. Wasn't that?
Arm and a leg, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just taking everything in this comedic style and just being evil for no reason, this red-eye gangs. These 3 superheroes show up to stop these bad guys. They fail horribly. The real quote-unquote hero shows up, Captain Amazing, saves the day, and it turns out that Captain Amazing, well, he's losing sponsors because he's so good at his job, he got rid of every supervillain. Again, I would argue this is kind of a take on why superhero movies struggle, because they have to always have villains. This is like a little bit of a commentary that you're going to disagree with, Eric, but it can never be resolved, because once you have no supervillains, then you don't have superheroes, and you can't make comic book movies, and you can't make comic books. You can't do any of this stuff. So you have to constantly either recycle old villains or come up with new ones, because those people don't watch and you don't make money. Anyway, I view that as a satirical lens, one of these many little points. But he decides to let out a previous villain from 20 years ago, Casanova Frankenstein, who's played by Jeffrey Rush. And he ends up, Captain Amazing gets imprisoned. Our trio tries to save him and fails, so they decide to create their own super team. They find a guy named Invisible Boy who can only turn invisible when nobody's looking. That's stupid. That's obviously stupid. The joke is that's an incredibly lame, stupid superpower. Even if it's true, it's useless, right? That's the whole bit. What's the point of being invisible when nobody's looking at you? It turns out that the movie comes up with a stupid plot reason to give him that, just because this is the kind of movie it is. But that's the bit, is that you're like, well, he could be making it up. We don't know. They get the spleen, a guy who's...
but none of them actually have powers anyway. So Ben Stiller never does anything.
The spleen
superhero.
has powers.
He's the
was
only one we
cursed.
see. He and Janine Garofalo are the only ones we see actually do any sort of
Hell, the Sphinx
superhero.
literally can make guns split with his mind. That's useful.
Well, the shoveler is good at shoveling. He's really good at shoveling.
Yeah. He's the best shoveler his wife has ever seen.
We actually
Literally
don't
the
ever
best.
see him shovel. He just hits people with the shovel.
We see him spinning
He doesn't-
around. He's got some moves, you know?
He doesn't dig anything though. Never digs anything with the shovel.
He digs into that egg salad. He does.
That's part of the humor.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize you were so repulsed by egg salad.
It's just so gross.
Now I know what to get you for your birthday. I'm going to make you some egg salad.
Yeah.
And
Please, and
ship it from
mix it-
Iowa.
Mix it right in front of me.
I'm going to mix it and just put it in a cardboard box and just send it to you. That's what I'm going to do. Happy birthday. So anyway, they assemble a super team. They accidentally kill Captain Amazing, which is fantastic. I mean, I did not expect that twist when I was 15 and saw this movie. I was shocked. Even now, it's still pretty ridiculous. We get some like Abbott and Costello, which thing do I flip and charge and turn? We meet all these bizarre, implausible villains because almost all the villains in Batman are implausible. Even the Joker, Jack Nicholson one, is a guy who fell into a vat of chemicals and didn't die. He just went crazy and got his face stuck in clown makeup. Okay. Yeah, that's not very serious, really. It's goofy. There's a guy who was born like a penguin and lived in the sewers with a bunch of other penguins. Why were there other penguins in this? I don't remember. It's all not a woman falls and gets licked by cats and becomes Catwoman. It's all crazy. So you get all these like takes and you get like elements of like the Warriors mixed in there. But eventually they do the training, they have issues, and they fight the bad guy at the end and they win. They finally get, resolution. They finally do something worth a damn in their lives. And that's the plot.
They all learn a lesson.
It's a standard superhero nonsense, but done comedically and silly. Yeah, they have tryouts, and we see a bunch of super lame superheroes. The PMS Avenger, which only works 3 days a month. Is that going to be a problem? The Waffler Pencil Head and Pencil Boy. It's just a bunch of nerds wanting to cosplay as superheroes, basically. That's what almost all these characters are. I think that's the point. I also see them, yes, just riffing on nerds loving this stuff and ignoring their lives. But I know you don't see that. You just see a movie that people were intentionally making. They thought was serious and interesting and cool, and they failed.
No, it's obviously a comedy. It's intended to be funny. I just didn't find it very funny. So the movie also takes place in like a weird universe. It's not. It's sort of like Tim Burton's Batman, where it's not.
Yeah, we talked about this when we did Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah,
it's that reality, that Gotham City and the Tim Burton Batman isn't like a real place. It doesn't feel real. It's, it's some cartoonish mix of the 50s and the 80s. It doesn't like. I don't know. The architecture is weird and gothic and bizarre. Yeah, this is one that's set in the same place. It was set in Champion City. Okay. But I want to create some space here, Kevin, for you to talk more about. So how many times have you seen this movie?
I see it every few years and am pleasantly surprised by how much I still enjoy it. I enjoy it more probably now due to all the stupid Marvel movies that have come out lately. And it just points to the fact that you do need a bad guy. That is important in Marvel movies and superhero movies. And it's been a real tough quest for a new bad guy, seems like lately. And that's the exact position that Greg Kinnear, Captain Amazing, was in. And I don't know. The characters are all hilarious to me. I love how the Blue Raja doesn't it really explain why he's the Blue Raja? His name doesn't make any sense at all. He isn't blue.
And he has to try to constantly explain it to people. He's like, well, but the thing is, it was a British colony in the first half of the 20th century. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's if you do that much work to explain it, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and when Roy, Mr. Furious or whatever his name is, when he finally realizes that his life is shit and he finally has something going for it, then he realizes how pointless being Mr. Furious really is. That's all part of it.
Yeah. Once he finally gets a girlfriend, he's like, oh, yeah, this is pointless. I don't actually have super strength. I've been coasting off of a fake story for several years. Like, I didn't actually move that bus when I got angry. The bus moved itself, and I didn't do anything. Yeah, he's the closest one to being self-aware of all the characters. Mr. Furious, Ben Stiller's character. He points out everybody else's nonsense, but he can't quite. He can't quite put his own powers on himself. His cynical nonsense. They spend a lot of time worrying about like branding and their personas. But I mean, this is another. I like when they're getting their education from the Sphinx, and he's just sitting there getting annoyed by all the vague wisdom he's getting, and he starts cutting those. Like, is nobody seeing the pattern here? He just reverses it every time. That worked for me then, and I still like that. You're going to say, I need to master my rage, or my rage will become my master? Not necessarily. And the Sphinx had this really good delivery at the end. He's like, we are number one. All others are number two or lower. It's just this very bizarre way of communicating. I don't know.
He's terribly mysterious.
Yes, terribly. So I've got to ask Eric. We've got in the bottom tier of movies we've reviewed is Cabaret and The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Ninth Dimension. Where does this sit in comparison to those two movies?
Wow.
That is a tough question.
And it's clear that like science fiction comedy doesn't land with you because you also seem to think Buckaroo Banzai.
I've been trying to interrogate that, like why? Because I was just reading that looks like Austin Powers 2 came out the same year, and like why do I find Austin Powers funny?
Sure.
Austin Powers is just as stupid.
Yeah.
It's a pseudo parody of an existing franchise, which is kind of what this is doing. But I find Austin Powers hilarious. I can always watch it. I laugh every time. This movie, I didn't laugh once, and I was bored, and I hated it. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't quite get it. I just think it was just a failed effort at. It wasn't either a superhero movie or a funny movie. Because I think if you're going to be dumb, if you're going to act stupid, the people have to actually be funny. And that's where I get lost. I think Mike Myers is hilarious. I think he's a funny guy. He says funny things. He acts funny. He makes me laugh. Ben Stiller, I like him in a lot of things. He's great. Like Dodgeball, right? I really like the movie Dodgeball. Does Ben Stiller really make me laugh much in that movie? Is White Goodman the funny parts? I guess he's pretty funny.
In Dodgeball as the villain, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. I think he's quite funny in Dodgeball, and a big part of why that works. And I don't know, have you ever seen Heavyweights?
No.
He's the villain in Heavyweights, which is a movie I'm due for a revisit. I want to force you guys to watch. He plays a maniacal, like he takes over fat camp, and he's maniacal, and he tries to make all these fat kids lose weight, and he's a tyrant, he's insane. And he's super funny. He's one of the best parts about it. He's just Ben Stiller can do a really great psychotic villain, and he kind of toes the line because he's not a schlub in the way that he usually is. But anyway, I don't know. I disagree about Dodgeball.
Like Zoolander, I like it. There's things in it I find really funny. I have a hard time with him in that movie. Some about him I push up against. Like I mentioned Tropic Thunder again. I love that movie so much. It's so hilarious. His character isn't really what I like about that movie. Robert Downey Jr. is, I think, hilarious and great. And even Jack Black's great in that movie. I don't know. Maybe it's a Ben Stiller thing for me.
You and your hang-ups with people, it's fascinating to me. Like
I mean, it's pretty clear Eric doesn't like Jewish people.
Oh, ooch. Uh-oh.
Never said that. Not
Paul Rudd, Jewish. Ben Stiller, very Jewish.
Not true.
Don't like them.
I'm a big Jerry Seinfeld fan. I think he's great.
Okay.
Never says it.
You're
Never
saving
says anything.
yourself now.
Never says anything problematic. Larry David's one of my all-time heroes. So I'm going to shut that down right now.
All right. You did it.
That's interesting. I don't know that I like Mike Myers as a person, and he's got some. He very easily aggravates me. He aggravates me in a lot of ways. Like his Scottish character is annoying. Well, So I Married an Axe Murderer has never really worked for me in the way that it's worked for other people. He has that stupid one, The Love Guru. I've seen snippets of that.
Movie. One of the worst movies ever.
Probably one of the worst movies I've seen as well.
Yeah.
And what I like about Austin Powers is more the writing and the bits and the jokes. It's not because I like Mike Myers. He's got great comedic delivery. It's not like he sucks or anything.
He's amazing in Wayne's World. He's hilarious as Wayne.
Maybe, but I'm talking about Austin Powers.
I don't own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack.
But it's the stupid shadow bit where it looks like all these weird sexual things are happening when it's just absurd nonsense.
Not all the jokes work, but they're flying jokes one at a time. There are hardly any jokes in this movie.
I think there are a lot of jokes, and you just didn't care.
There's a few. You've named basically 2 of them in the whole movie, and that's about it.
I mean, okay. There's 2 jokes you think. There are 2 actual attempts at humor.
Well, you've referenced other movies like Nobody Makes Me Bleed My Own Blood, or like we're talking about lines from other. Name a line from this movie that you'll say to your friends, and like that sticks with you.
I stopped doing that, like, I don't know, 20 years ago. Like, let's just quote lines at each other.
Back when you were in your honor dorm?
Yes. Like, I don't know. That's not a thing I do. There's no movie that's going to make me do that anymore. That's the thing I did when I was in college. So that's a weird metric to me for what's good comedy. This movie made me laugh. There are lines that I think are really, really funny. Now, this movie isn't iconic. Most people wouldn't get any line. People didn't watch it. Like, yes, there's no line that I could say that would land with almost anybody, but I wouldn't do that anyway. I did that with Old School back in the day. I did that with the Anchorman, of course. All that used to be a thing, but that's not like my metric for a great comedy. At least not anymore. This movie made me laugh, and I think it was really funny and nonsensical. And actually, it was something I was just nice to revisit. I don't know. It made me laugh a bunch of times. Probably 4 good belly laughs. There was a line. Tom Waits is watching the news towards the end, and he's mentioning this, whatever the device was that
defraculator.
Yeah, he's like, did the defraculator work, or what's the deal with that? It's just like a one-off throwaway line. He's just curious about the outcome of the machine that nobody, and that's it. Just one throwaway line. All the bickering about what their name's going to be. But there's a bunch of comedic scenarios. I mean, the whole thing is.
I like the Coke nail that Jeffrey Rush has. Casanova Frankenstein. He fights with it as a weapon. His Coke nail. And then they do a prop Coke nail so that you're from the vantage point of the Coke nail, and he's like slashing at Ben Stiller's character at the end. No? Nothing?
I remember it. Didn't love it, but
well, the fact that you remember it is just evidence that it's great. I mean, you wouldn't remember it if it wasn't great. So I win this round.
I slogged my way through it.
When they're crawling in and they're arguing and they're scuttling about the place, and then they just go like this. I mean, it's clearly comedic. Like when they show up at Castle Frankenstein's house and they're making fun of the guys. Like, you have guns in your disco theme. They're making fun of them for having poorly conceived identity, and then they just get their asses kicked. It's clearly like cut to. Yeah, it didn't work. The stupid. This is one I forgot about completely. And I was like, he's hitting on the server, and he's talking to her, and the stupid Kleenex falls out of his nose and just plops into the donating to a good cause. So stupid. See that you're just saying there. It's just this weird little bit of physical comedy that's right there. It just carries on, and then he takes it and he puts it back in his nose. That's good.
Hey, he says he rides a Harley. Compatible, basically the same engineer.
Yeah,
that's a great line.
Sure. Got it.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think it's worth a shot. I ended up buying this movie because it's $4 to rent and $5 to buy. So, okay, I'll spend the extra buck and own it. Revisit it at some point.
I found it for $4.19 on Amazon or something like that. So
yeah, that's what it was. It was like $4.89 to buy. I understand the 80 cents matters to you, but
I'm keeping that 80 cents.
I know.
This movie.
Sure,
I want that money back. I was reading somewhere that said Danny DeVito was supposed to be in it originally.
He's going to star and direct. Yep.
Yeah.
But he couldn't make his own music selections, and that he's out.
Apparently, that's a big non-starter for him. If he can't do the soundtrack, he's out.
Wow, I didn't know that. That could have been something good.
Yeah, release the DeVito cut. Oh, sure. Have you ever seen Death to Smoochie, Eric? Is that another movie you hate?
Fucking hate that movie too. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think ultimately you and I find very different things funny overall, because I think that movie's pretty funny, but it's also very stupid. He pulls out the cookie that is shaped like a dick, and he has to figure out what to call it. And he calls it a rocket chip. It's just funny. Yeah, I don't know how to talk about this movie to anybody that hasn't seen it. It's so goofy to me in a way that they don't make movies this goofy anymore. Regardless, I mean, we talked about Mallrats, and that was a movie that we said kind of got by in vibes. That's not a movie I laughed at once. Mallrats didn't make me laugh, so I feel like this is just kind of stupid and silly.
Not especially funny. Carly Fiorina, what's her name? She's in both these, right?
Yeah, she's the central, goal for the main guy.
She really had a minute in the 90s there as the
what
sort
else
of
was
it
she
girl.
beside these two movies? That's all I can think of.
Isn't she Chasing Amy too?
You're talking about Claire Forlani. Okay.
Claire Forlani, yeah. She was in The Rock. She played his daughter in The Rock as well.
The last thing I saw her in was a whiskey commercial.
Oh.
Because I think she's Irish or something.
Oh.
Yes, she did do a series of whiskey ads. I do remember that. You're right.
But that was it.
But this movie, I like the vibes. I'm on board with the vibes from the get-go. Like, we're doing a goofy, unserious superhero movie. Yeah, it's probably not as tight and as well written as any of the Austin Powers movies, except for maybe the third one. The third one, the premise worse than by the third Austin Powers movie. It runs out of steam. But but even when I'm not laughing, I'm like, all right, I'm glad this exists. This is my kind of goofy and weird and silly. You can't find this in movies really much anymore. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of how many actually goofy comedies get made. It feels like almost none. Am I just missing them because I'm too old? Because I just can't think of any. I think maybe like Blockers, and that's as far back as I can go with a weird comedy that's pretty goofy all throughout. Please note, I'm getting
there's
stares.
not a lot of comedies that have come out recently. They don't do well. We talked about.
Like Adam Sandler will just go on streaming and stuff.
Right.
That's true. He's got all of his Herbie Huey Hancock hand job movie or whatever.
It's because we're cancel culture. Nobody wants to be funny anymore. They're all so afraid of being. Everybody's so sensitive. You can't say anything edgy anymore. You can't.
What was objectionable in this movie? Was there anything egregious?
Just kidding.
No, I understand you are. I'm like, is this a movie that people would be like, this is a bad? I mean, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's not funny. It was probably the biggest problem.
So, well, sure, it canceled itself because nobody wanted to watch it. But I'm just
right.
It seems fine. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because there's so much stand-up comedy now. I feel like, Netflix and HBO or Max is littered with stand-up shows.
Yeah,
it seems like people are selling out.
They're so cheap to make.
Yeah, but they're selling out stadiums too. It's like people are going to see comics. So there is comedy out there. We just aren't making movies, funny movies.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. And stand-up comics, I mean, they can still, for the most part, do what they want. There aren't that. I mean, they're going to overstate just how horrible it is, and they can't say what they want. But for the most part, you're still getting pretty undistilled comedy. There's just a market for stuff.
Like I feel like John Mulaney is everywhere right now. He's on like you turn on Netflix or HBO, like he's on everything. And like, why doesn't someone just give him $100 million to make a movie? Like, make whatever movie you want. John Mulaney, here, Netflix. Here's $100 million.
Well, they gave him a bunch of money to do that to Everyone's in LA. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely,
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
They probably gave him a lot of money, and that's what he did.
Know.
I don't think he wants to do a movie. He had a sitcom for a hot minute, and that did really terribly. Everyone's in LA is great, but that's the kind of stuff he wants to do. Or did like the Sack Lunch Bunch. I don't know. I think that's where his sensibilities lie. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a market for it. Movies aren't really big anymore, and comedies are movies that would just go straight to streaming, I guess. And I don't know. Broad comedies, goofy comedies, they don't exist. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen a movie with this just like wall-to-wall goofy energy. I mean, it's not airplane level insanity, but I think it's pretty densely packed. I mean, it's a lot of characters bickering and arguing and otherwise being losers but not realizing it. I mean, they're just this like mutual delusion that they're engaged in the whole time. Well, they eat egg salad sandwiches.
Yeah.
Even though it's fully loaded with cholesterol, Eric. There's so much cholesterol in that.
Is that true? Is it really bad for you, an egg salad sandwich?
I think it probably depends on eggs. Like,
it's a hard-boiled egg.
Hasn't our opinion on eggs changed? Hasn't it been like yolks are really full of cholesterol and bad? Actually, cholesterol. I mean, I think there's been a lot of back and forth. So I have no idea.
All that damn mayo he put on the damn thing. That's probably what's not good for you.
Well, I'm sure mayo's not good for you. I mean, it was gross.
But he had like a tomato, right? Didn't he put like lettuce and tomato?
He put a bunch of fixings on it, sure.
Yeah, we watched him make the whole thing.
I don't know. Well, it's because I thought it was very serious and edgy to do that. No, it's absurd. I'm shocked it got made. It's definitely one of those like, it got made. You got some relatively big names to do it. I mean, Ben Stiller hadn't quite exploded yet. He wasn't quite, as big as he'd get in the aughts. Like, this is pre-Zoolander, pre-Dodgeball, but still, it's not nothing.
William H. Macy.
He's a solid.
Did he win an Oscar for Fargo? He was nominated at least, right?
Hey, you guys are the Minnesotans. You should know this. Spoofing your beloved state.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
He was hilarious in that movie too. He's a funny guy.
That's a funny movie. You're right.
Yeah, this isn't as good as Fargo. I want to make it very clear. I think Fargo is a better movie than Mystery Men, to anybody wondering. Fargo is a 5 out of 5 perfect movie.
He was nominated Best Supporting Actor.
But he didn't
win. Right, he didn't win for that. But did that win? It didn't win Best Picture, did it?
Fargo did not win Best Picture. Not at all. If it was 95 was Braveheart, 96 was English Patient, 97 was Titanic. Fargo's in there somewhere.
Yeah. But Frances McDormand won then. Somebody won an Oscar for that movie. She must have. Yeah, because she's won a couple. She must have won.
I'm on the call, hon. What's up? Okay, sure. Just a minute. I know I need to finish up. Just a second.
Okay.
Yes, my love.
Mystery Man. He was also in Magnolia the same year. William H. Macy.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that movie.
Who is he? Oh yeah, he's like the ex-Whiz kid, right? The game show kid or something, isn't he? Was he like molested or something? That movie's a real downer.
What other funny stuff was he in?
Yeah, he's kind of would you consider him a comedic actor. He's done mostly serious stuff.
Yeah. But he's really funny when he wants to be.
He's in Wild Hogs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's a big favorite of yours, right?
Wild Hogs. That's also a pretty stupid movie.
Man, he's just working. He's in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Apparently. He must play one of the apes.
Is that the one that just came out?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. He's an ape. So what do you got going on this weekend?
Well, last weekend went camping to a Y camp with Winona. So this weekend I'm going to take it easy. Go visit my dad a couple times, I think. That's about it. Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna go see Fall Guy. Gonna take Kennedy to see Fall Guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Have you seen that yet?
No, we were gonna see it Friday. We had the afternoon off, but then Eleanor stayed home from school because she had like a cold and wasn't feeling well. It's like, all right, fuck. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it was like
that's a comedy,
chance.
isn't it?
Yeah, but it didn't make any money. You know, that's the weird thing is it looks funny, looks good, people like it, but nobody goes sees
It's
it.
got Ryan Gosling in
Yeah.
it. Supposed to be good. Got good reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you power through a movie that you hate?
I just close my eyes. No, I try to give it time, and because I am notorious, and this is not like a good quality. Like 5 minutes in, I'm like, I either hate this movie or I'm interested. And sometimes things change. It's like, oh, this gets a lot better, or okay, this doesn't get any better. But for me, I that's a like urge I need to like fight against. Is like 5 minutes in, I'm out and not paying attention. So this movie, I honestly tried to. All right, okay, I'm getting the vibe. I need to focus, but it just never got done.
Sorry about that. There was a spider that managed to escape before I got up there. I guess that's why I was called up. It's a murder spider. Yeah, Eric, I don't know. Yeah, I was diving in. I was like, oh, I think Eric's going to hate this intro. Just don't think it's going to work for him. We're going to lose him early. We're going to lose a lot of good Erics early. This movie. But all right, let's see here. How do you want to transition back?
I don't know. Just if you just jump right in.
All right, Eric. How bad's the damage? Is it below Buckaroo Banzai? Is it 1 star? How bad's the damage?
It's a half star. Half star.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. That
It's
is
a half star for me.
aggressively negative.
Yeah, I really didn't like it. I really didn't like it.
Okay. Mr. Chang.
Well, it gets a full 4 stars for me.
Oh yes.
It's one that takes me back. 1999. Saw it in the theater. I enjoyed it. I was amused by it in the theater, but I've grown to really enjoy it over the years. Going back to it, especially as superhero movies got bigger and bigger. I still think this has a lot to say about superheroes. So 4 stars.
Hey, 4 stars for me. Back on track. Pretty much. I mean, it was funny. It had some things to say about superhero movies, which were not even close to where they are now in 1999. I mean, superhero movies had not just completely choked out, movie theaters at this point. Yeah, I'm all for an update. Give me a sequel to this. I want a sequel.
I saw something on Wikipedia that said they have all the cast has talked about doing a sequel to it.
Well, Paul Rubens is dead, but you could open with a funeral for the spleen. Let's open with a funeral for the spleen.
Sure.
You can still do a couple of last second fart jokes, and then you get into the plot.
You should write it, Ben.
That would be a derivative work, and I would get sued very quickly. Some corporation owns the copyright. I would.
You could do like a spec.
I mean, I could, but still, it would. I would not own the copyright to it. It was the guy that wrote. I don't remember. Was like Rocky 3 or 4. One of them. Some dude wrote it, and he just didn't get any credit for it because it was copyrighted because they owned the rights to the characters.
Well, that's because Stallone's a dick.
Well,
but
do I think some corporation's going to be nice about it? I don't.
Well, who do you think owns 20th Century Fox or whoever owns?
Yeah, whichever company owns this movie, or Disney. If it's 20th Century Fox, Disney owns it. But yeah, I mean that. But anyway, the bottom line is I want. There are a lot of sequels I don't need. This is one I think I do. I think there's a lot of possibilities. As we're in this lull, we're certainly post superhero peak. And Disney said they're like, you can only do 2 Marvel movies a year and 1 TV show or whatever the restriction is. It's time. These guys are going to franchise. Anyway, there's a lot of different ways I think you could do bits and revisit these characters. But that's me. I know you don't want that. I know you wouldn't see it. I know you would be angry at any streaming service that suggested you'd watch it. You should watch it. So, but anyway, 4 out of 5. Funny. Definitely not a perfect comedy. Not one of the best of all time. Not much like it. It's funny. What is happening?
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Are you printing your screenplay?
Yeah, I'm working on my new screenplay. Mystery Men 2.
I think your microphone's picking up a lot of background noise.
Sure is. Wow.
Can you on Zoom? I think you can have it block out background noise.
Oh, well, he's muted himself. So now all noise is muted, blocked out.
I missed the printing sound.
When was the last time you printed something?
It's been a while,
It's been a while.
Haven't got my printer off in a little bit.
Oh, I bet so. But it's backed up, full of ink.
Yeah. So, are we done with Mystery Men, or do you guys want to talk for another hour?
I think we covered as much as we possibly can. So I think we're ready to.
Still going. There we go. I think it's done. I don't know what Pam decided to print, but it was a lot of it.
That's fine. I'm sure she needed something. Some after tremors. Just got to get the last bits out.
Wow.
The extra shakes. No, Eric, I think we're ready to find out what we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Yes. The next film we're going to do is a 2017 motion picture from the year 2017.
Okay.
This movie.
Shape of Water?
Nope. It is not Shape of Water.
Dunkirk.
Nope. This movie was Oscar nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Okay.
And it was written by Scott Frank, who you might know as the writer and director of The Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix. So that's one more clue. So was nominated, didn't win Best Adapted Screenplay, but was nominated.
What did it adapt?
Well, that would give it away.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sneaky, Kevin.
Is it a book?
Richard E. Grant is one of the stars of this movie. You know who Richard E. Grant is?
I believe so. British man.
British guy, was in Hudson Hawk way back when.
I think he's been a lot.
Everybody's favorite, Hudson Hawk.
I know him from Hudson Hawk.
We all know Hudson Hawk, Eric. We love that movie.
Yeah, that's the first movie he puts on his resume.
He was also in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, a classic film.
Yeah, he's one of the. I know who he is. He's one of the. Yeah,
okay.
First order officer. I know who he is. It's funny that Hudson Hawk was your first take.
That's how Bunny Ball. That's how I know that.
He's
guy.
in Saltburn. He's in a bunch of stuff.
He was in Saltburn. What a shit movie that was. Holy balls. Okay.
I didn't realize you held balls in such reverence. Okay.
I don't. They're holy balls.
Yeah.
I don't know what number of clues I have given.
3-ish.
3-ish, 4-ish. We're in that range. I'll start to give
4-ish.
better clues. This movie was a huge hit. It grossed $619 million and became the third highest grossing R-rated film at the time of its release.
Okay.
So big hit. A large part of this movie takes place in El Paso, Texas.
Okay, I'm just zeros in my brain.
All right. You should definitely get this. Two of the main characters are Logan and Charles Xavier.
Oh, okay. Logan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, the 2017 movie Logan. A couple of reasons I wanted to watch this is I wanted a good superhero movie after watching a really shitty one in my mind. And we got a new Wolverine movie coming out this year. So I wanted to revisit Logan from 2017.
Wow. I didn't realize it was such a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It was. It's on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus to those who'd like to watch along.
I think I own it.
I own it as well.
You can switch it to black and white, I think.
Ooh.
I've never watched the black and white version. I know, like Mad Max Fury Road has like a black and white.
Yeah, the Chrome edition.
Yeah. Never watched the black and white version of Logan. Maybe I'll check that out. So that's what I pick.
Logan. Okay. In anticipation, you're going to watch Wolverine and Deadpool or Deadpool and Wolverine? Is that on your to watch list?
I'm excited but nervous.
Okay.
Couple of reasons. The Sean Levy, the director, has never done anything that I've enjoyed.
What has he done?
Free Guy was one of his movies. I think he's done. What has he done? Did he do one of the Ghostbusters movies? No. He did a bunch of the Netflix like Adam Project. He's like every Ryan Reynolds shit movie you see, he's like the director of it.
Yeah. So he's pretty successful, in other words.
Yeah, but nothing I've ever wanted to see or
Did
like.
he do either of the other Deadpool movies?
No. David Leitch did the first one or second one. One of the two of them. I don't remember who directed the first one.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at his filmography, and it's pretty rough.
He's basically Ryan Reynolds' like friend, and he just helps him, helps him out, has him direct some of his movies. So I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a strike. I mean, look at this, like Big Fat Liar, Night at the Museum. Yeah. Speaking of Ben Stiller, Real Steel. I guess he directed Hugh Jackman in that one. Okay.
Oh man,
the third.
It's not great. It's not a great filmography.
Yeah, okay.
I felt like the Adam Project was aggressively bad.
Okay. He's got better producer credits. I mean, he produced Arrival. There's something there. He produced The Spectacular Now, which is pretty good. I don't know.
I think the trailer looks kind of cool. I don't like the timeline bullshit, but obviously that's how you have to get him involved. I hope it ends up we're ending timelines and it's all blown away, and now we're just gonna make a cinematic universe and Deadpool's part of it. That would make me happy.
Yeah, I think that's probably the goal, is to do a hard reset. I would think.
Yeah,
a
hard reset would be good. A hard reset would be good.
You do some weird metaphysical nonsense, and hey, guess what? All that stuff you love, it's still valid. It's just a separate timeline.
And we can never go back or see it again.
All that nerd stuff you really liked really happened. It's real. It didn't vanish. Don't worry. But we're going to do some new stuff, nerds.
I heard a rumor they're going to end up in the Endgame battle with Thanos, and that kind of bums me out.
Really?
let's not go back and do that. Like,
Why not?
Wait, in the movie, in this Deadpool movie?
Like Deadpool and Wolverine will teleport into the battle with Thanos, and he'll grab the hammer or something, like something shit stupid like that.
I don't hate that conceptually. I mean,
Okay,
that joke may or may not land, but I don't need to take Endgame as like some sacrosanct religious text.
No, that's not what I think either. I just don't. We don't need to revisit it again.
Well, if it's one scene, I don't need anything extended. We don't need it, but like if they show up and they do a bit and then leave.
Yeah, like at the end of Deadpool 2 where he's like bouncing around doing goofy stuff. Like I'm fine with that too. Like that works.
Oh shit, we better get out of here. We don't want to fuck up this Endgame thing.
Or if they just make fun of Endgame, how they went back to other movies and he does the same thing, like that. That's.
But it's
fine.
totally different when we do it. Sure, yeah. I mean, as a bit, that could work. Yeah, it shouldn't be. They don't need a whole act taking place there. That would be a problem. But a bit.
I think they'll introduce the X-Men as a concept.
Yeah, I think
cool.
I think that's absolutely what's happening. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be time to say, hey, X-Men are officially part of the MCU, and we're doing a whole new thing. Yay! Although not with Hugh Jackman.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, X-Men and Hugh Jackman is like, for me, the introduction of superhero movies, like legit, like really well done. The first X-Men, I think, is one of the best still to this day superhero movies, and he's great. And I think Logan's great too. So
I wonder if that movie holds up. I've not seen it in 20 years.
I rewatched it with my kids. We went through and watched all the X-Men movies, and I think it still holds up. Some of the X-Men movies are pretty bad, like The Last Stand, the third one.
The third one was shitty at the time. That movie
really
sucked
bad. That's
in 2006.
really bad. Yeah,
I liked 2 a lot. 2 was my favorite.
2's all right. 2's pretty good.
And you see Wolverine cut loose.
And then what's there's the Wolverine where he's with the samurais. That's also James Mangold, I think. That one's
Wolverine.
pretty good. Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
The X-Men Origin Wolverine one is stupid.
Oh yeah. Yep. They don't let Deadpool talk. Makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
But all right. Well, we're going to talk Logan in a couple of weeks. We'll be off next week, everybody, but Logan action. Bye-bye. Woohoo Ben signing off.